Hey, welcome. My name is Adam, and in this video, I'm going to be summarizing Wallace D. Wattles' book, The Science of Being Well, which, in my opinion, is one of the most amazing operating manuals for living a healthy life. Wallace Wattles, this funny dude here, he lived over 100 years ago, and he was the guy who wrote the book, The Science of Getting Rich, which popularized the law of attraction in the West. So, have you ever heard of the movie The Secret? That movie was inspired by and completely based on Wallace Wattles' book, The Science of Getting Rich. This book here, The Science of Success, is a 1 in 3 book that also includes a lesser known Wallace Wattles book called The Science of Being Well. And this is an amazing book. I'm going to summarize it here today. The Science of Being Well basically explains how to think in a perfectly healthy way, how to eat in a perfectly healthy way, how to breathe, how to sleep, how to exercise, and then there's some other miscellaneous points like dealing with pain, like hanging out with certain people. All of that I'm going to talk about here today. Now, why did I pick Wallace Wattles' book? Now, we all know that there is literally an infinite amount of health information that is out there on the internet. And every single person claims to have the ultimate solution to living a healthy life. So why does this book have the secret, and why is this book better than all the other doctors and stuff that are sharing their ideas? So the reason why I've selected this book personally and why it resonates with me personally so deeply is because this book is based on the monistic theory of the universe. And put in layman's terms, what that means is that it's based on the understanding that all of existence is one thing. This is the truth of the universe. This is 100% true, that all of existence is actually one consciousness. This is called God's mind, infinite imagination, the source of intelligence, the source of being, the source of life. In all different religions, it's called Mu in Zen. It's called Brahman in Hinduism. It's called God in Christianity, Yahweh in Judaism, Allah in Islam. These are not separate gods that they're talking about. It's one God, the one principle of life, the universal life force that moves existence. So this universal life force, Wallace Wattles explains, is the source of your health and well-being. And in his other books, like The Science of Getting Rich, he also talks about how the universal source is the source of wealth and abundance. I have another video about this book, which I'll link up there if you want to check it out. But in this video, we're talking about being healthy. And why I picked this book is just because simply it resonates with my soul. So take it or leave it. I'm not going to try and convince you with my PhD or whatever that this is the best book ever, but what I recommend you do is to simply take the ideas that I share with you here in this video and take them on as a temporary hypothesis and actually test them in your experience. Because at the end of the day, that's what's true, is your experience. That's the one thing. That's God, your experience. So test the book, see if it works, and if it doesn't work, then let it go. It's not a big deal. If you want to listen to the original text, I'm going to link the audio book to The Science of Being Well in the description. So give that a listen. It's free. Also, I recommend buying the physical copy as well. But without further ado, let's get into the first part of the book, which is how to think. So I already mentioned that this book is based on the monistic theory of the universe, which basically means that all of reality is one thing. And a big part of this understanding, one of the ramifications, is to understand that since reality is in fact God's mind, otherwise known as your mind, your consciousness, I've spoken about this truth in length, deep detail in other videos, so I'm not going to prove that here today. You just got to kind of take my words on faith a little bit here. Reality's made of your consciousness. Actually, you don't need to take my words on faith. You can prove that for yourself by investigating your direct experience. You can actually look at your direct experience and see, oh yeah, Adam's right. Reality's definitely made of my consciousness. This is an undisputable fact. It's impossible to disprove, because even if you tried to disprove it, whatever evidence you bring to support your claim that I'm wrong is held within your consciousness because consciousness comes first. It's primary. This is what Max Planck says. This is what all the sages say. So if you study life in any detail at all and you actually care about the truth of existence, you're a sage like me, or like I try to be, I aspire to be. Then if you're interested in the true nature of reality, you'll see very clearly that it's all one thing. One of the ramifications is understanding that the thoughts that you think are actually things. And when you think a thought habitually, when you hold a picture in your mind habitually, that eventually becomes a part of you and it manifests as body. It becomes you. So when you're thinking unhealthy thoughts, when you're thinking thoughts of lack and disease and fear-based thoughts, these may have came from your culture. These may have came from your parents or from the media. When you think these thoughts habitually, regardless of if it's conscious or unconscious, that will produce dis-ease in your body. What this does is these diseased thoughts, they sever your connection to the source of health, the source of well-being, which is your source. It's God naturally wants you to be healthy because you are God and you want yourself to be healthy. All beings want themselves to be healthy. So when you think unhealthy thoughts, you actually sever your connection to the source of healthful energy, and that produces disease in your body. So that's the main point that he talks about how to think, is don't focus on diseased thoughts. Don't focus on thoughts of disease, sickness, lack. Don't think of that stuff. So like watching the news about the new disease that's been released. Don't focus on that. Don't think about it. Thinking about disease cannot make you healthy. What makes you healthy is thinking about health. In the same way where he says in The Science of Getting Rich, thinking about poverty and the cause of poverty does not make you rich. The only way to get rich is to think rich thoughts. Think about being wealthy. Hang out with wealthy people. Think their thoughts and you will become wealthy in time. You can't instantly manifest wealth. You can't instantly manifest well-being. But if this becomes a habitual thought in your mind and you use your will to focus your attention on wanted things in your life as opposed to unwanted things, then you create wanted things in your life because you're focusing your attention on them. So one way he says to do this in the realm of being healthy is to visualize in your mind the conception of you having a perfectly healthy body. You can do this now. Visualize your body being strong, being healthy, being full of life. You can visualize yourself doing a long day's work and having an abundance of energy and strength to do it. Picture this in your mind and then connect to this on a daily basis. Live in this healthy body. Be the healthy version of yourself. Don't just think about it, visualize it, but then be it on a moment-to-moment basis. Don't entertain thoughts of disease, think thoughts of health. So that's how to think. Be the healthy version of yourself. Focus your attention on it. Walk as the healthy version of yourself. Breathe as the healthy version of yourself. Think like the healthy version of yourself. And I'm going to give you some practical tips for how to actually do that Wallace Wattles shares in his book that I've been testing on myself, and they work amazing. So specifically, one of my favorite ideas in his book is when to eat. Very simply, he says, eat when you're hungry. So what I love so much about the science of being well is not only is it based on the monistic theory of the universe, which is the realization that all things are one thing, not the theory that all things are one thing, not the philosophy or the wishful thinking that all things might be one thing. No, but the certain realization that all things are made of your consciousness as your consciousness because you are God. Jesus said, the Father and I are one. Not because the Father and him are one. What he meant is that the Father and you are one. What is the Father? The Father is the source of being, the source of creation. Being itself, existence. The fact that anything exists at all. It's oneness. It's infinity. It's a totality. The absolute. So when to eat. So he says nature, with a capital N, which is another word for the absolute, has designed your body very, very intelligently. It's kind of difficult to disagree with this. If you just look at your hand and you realize that there's billions of cells in your body, all functioning perfectly. Actually, I'm going to link a video, or maybe I'll just put it up on the screen, of a close-up of cells doing their thing. It's a generated image, but it's like the genius of your body is unfathomable. That's one reason why spending time in nature is so important for connecting yourself to the wisdom and intelligence of life, because when you go out in nature and you see the patterns and the designs of trees and branches and animals, you start to see how genius intelligence is. And you start to realize that, oh, I am this intelligence. I'm made of this intelligence. I am God. I am the source of being. I am wisdom. It's in me. Every fucking cell in my body is designed automatically. By who? Who designed it? Did it happen by accident? Accidentally. You have this amazing, beautiful, masterfully designed body. Just by chance. A dice was rolled and we got a good roll. So now all of a sudden the entire universe exists. No, that's not how it works. It's the nature of infinity, which is what existence is. It's the nature of infinity to know all and to be infinitely intelligent. It's the nature of infinity to create itself into a multitude of beautiful, intelligently designed forms. It's not an accident. It's the nature of existence. It's, of course, there's no limits in existence. I've already spoken about this in my video, how God creates reality. So we're getting besides the point. Check that video out. So when to eat. Okay, let's get back to the basics. So when you are, well, this is the basics. We're talking about the basicest thing. What is existence? The basics. You actually can't get basicer than what we're talking about. When to eat. So nature has designed your body to know when to eat. So when you feel hungry, that's a good time to eat. But there's certain points we need to distinguish between hunger versus appetite. This is very important. So there's genuine hunger and then there's false hunger or fake hunger. False hunger feels like pain in your stomach. It feels like lethargy or tiredness. Like, oh, I'm so tired. I wish I had some food. It feels like craving for taste. Like you're just bored and you have nothing to do, so I just want some food. That's not hunger. Your body will trick you into thinking that that's hunger, but that's not hunger. That's just appetite. So if you have a habitual tendency to eat when you're bored, then you're going to start to crave food in the same way that a cigarette smoker craves nicotine. But nicotine is not essential to your body's health in the same way eating food when you're not hungry is not essential to your body's health. So you don't need to listen to the cravings of appetite. Instead, what he says is just unless you feel genuine hunger, there's no reason to eat any food at all. And I found this to work excellently, actually. When real hunger feels like a pleasant anticipation for eating food. You're not stressed out. You're not in pain. You're not having cramps. You're not like falling asleep. You feel awake. You feel clear. You feel light. You feel good. And you feel like, okay, it's time to eat now. It's just like it's almost like a sensation in the back of your mouth, as opposed to feeling a sensation in your stomach or in your gut. That is not real hunger. Real hunger is like it's a vague sensation in the back of your mouth. Your stomach should feel very empty. And yeah, so if you feel your stomach gurgling or grumbling, that's not hunger. That's your stomach gurgling and grumbling. Actually, what I've discovered is that that's actually your body cleansing a lot of the built up rubbish in your system. So just if you feel hunger pangs or pain, that's not hunger. That's your body cleaning itself. So just let that be. You'll know when you're hungry because you don't feel pain. You just feel like, oh, like I think it's time for me to eat. You'll know. So it's actually better for you to fast and go for a few hours without eating and be hungry for a few hours than it is to eat when you're not hungry. This is because your subconscious mind, or the intelligence that has created your body, knows, the intelligence of your body knows when it's time to digest food, when there's energy available for you to digest food, and when more food could be used to repair your cells and so forth. That's when it's a good time to eat, and your body will tell you. So nothing bad has ever happened to anyone who has been hungry for a few hours, but many, many unhealthy things happen to people who eat when they're not hungry. Okay? This is a lesson I had to learn for myself. Don't eat if you're not hungry. Only eat when you're hungry. That's when to eat. Another note I wanted to mention is, in the morning when you wake up, you are not hungry. It's actually scientifically impossible to be hungry the first thing when you wake up in the morning, because the body uses food for cell regeneration and to repair cells. So when you work, that's what causes deterioration of the cells in your brain. If you're a brain worker like me, or if you do a lot of physical labor, then your muscles need food to repair the cells. That's why your body uses food. When you wake up in the morning, you just spent the entire night sleeping, and unless you went to bed in a starved state, so if you didn't eat the whole day before, then yeah, you'll probably wake up hungry. But if you ate dinner the night before, and you followed all these other things that we're talking about here, and then you wake up in the morning and you feel hungry, that's not actual hunger, because your whole body spent the entire night regenerating and rejuvenating its cells. So you don't need food in the morning until you actually do work. Real hunger is only hunger that comes after you do work or after you do stuff. You can't be hungry when you first thing in the morning. Now, some people have messaged me and they said, Adam, what if I am eating proactively? Well, I know I'm gonna get hungry in a few hours and I don't have time to eat later, so shouldn't I just eat breakfast so that I can prepare for my day? And the answer is absolutely not. Do not eat when you're not hungry because your body doesn't want food. There's no energy to digest food. It's not good for your health. Instead, you're better off waiting until you start to feel hungry, and if you don't have time to eat, wait an hour or two until you do have time to eat and then eat. So he says in the book, a good rule of thumb is that most of the time you'll probably get a genuine sense of hunger around noon. But if you don't, then don't eat. But generally, you should eat around noon. So skip breakfast. I know this hurts people's feelings. People are like, but Adam, I love breakfast. It's not really about your feelings. It's about, are you genuinely hungry or are you not? And you need to be very honest with yourself about, is this an actual, genuine, serious, true hunger? Not the pain of my cravings, of my body's habitual tendency that's like used to eating in the morning. It's about, or do you actually want to eat? And the answer is no, because you just woke up, so there's no reason for you to want to eat. Wait a few hours, at least. Do work, then eat to repair your cells. Okay? It's not about your feelings. It's about the science of being well. All right. Next, what to eat. So when you follow this method of waiting until you're hungry to eat, then you'll find that it actually changes your cravings. So you'll actually want different food than what you normally want. Because normally you just stuff your face all day with whenever you're bored, sweets and this and that and whatever. But if you wait till you're actually genuinely hungry, the food you're gonna want is, he calls, simple solids, or food that is satiating. So I love how he doesn't really put an emphasis on specifically what food to eat. He doesn't say, oh, the vegan diet's the best, or oh, the raw diet's the best, or oh, the carnivore diet's the best. He doesn't say that. He says you should generally eat food based on what's available in your climate zone. So if you're living in Costa Rica, you could probably eat what they eat in Costa Rica. What do the locals eat? This is a good test of how to know what to eat. What do the farmers eat? What do the working people eat in that country? In general, eat their food, the simple solids. So in Costa Rica, what do they probably eat? A lot of fruit, beans, rice, fried plantains they enjoy, probably some meat once in a while. So eat that. You'll be good in that climate. If you live in a very cold area, like in Russia, for example, they probably eat more meat. I don't know exactly what they eat in Russia. Cabbage, borscht, cabbage soup, this kind of stuff. Onion soup, right? Those root vegetables. That's what they eat in that climate because that's all that grows. So eat what's available in your climate. Try not to eat too many exotic foods or imported foods. Try to find stuff that's local, that's prepared by the people who live in that country. So think about like what kind of food do the grandmothers eat, or that the working men eat. He says that the intelligence of God, or the intelligence of the universe, has led man to learn how to prepare the foods available to them in their area in the ideal way. So it's not about eating cooked foods or raw foods. It's just about eating what's available in the way that people make it in your area. Also, listen to your body as well. So when you're hungry, genuinely hungry, not fake hungry, genuinely hungry, what you'll want when you sit at the table, you have to listen to what you want. So when you sit at the table, don't reach for what you think is healthy in your mind. Just focus on what you want to eat first. So if you want to eat the potatoes that are right there, the cooked potatoes, but you read online somewhere that starch is not good for you and it makes you fat, it's not about what you read online. See, this is something I've been talking about for years now on this channel. It's not about what you think in your head is good for you. It's about what your body wants to eat, genuinely wants. Listen to your body, connect to your body. You can be more sensitive to your body by waiting until you're actually hungry. Then your body will, I don't know if you've ever done a fast before, but if you fasted for a few days, then your sense of smell becomes heightened and you start to crave satiating food, like maybe a hamburger, maybe like rice, or like satiating food, potatoes, cooked vegetables, fruit, this kind of stuff. So when you wait till you're actually hungry, you'll also enjoy more simple tasting foods as well. So don't over spice things, don't over sugar things, don't, pile on sriracha sauce into what you're eating. Just keep it simple and enjoy the taste of it. He says if you don't enjoy the taste of simple foods, don't eat for a little longer. And then you'll wait until you're even more hungry, and then you'll absolutely love the taste of some plain rice or some simply cooked meat or whatever. So this book I want to make a side point. So this book was written in 1910. Since then, I'm aware that in the West especially, foods have been injected with all kinds of crap, bullshit nonsense, especially in the 70s. That was like when science was like mixed with food and they invented like Pop-Tarts and sugar cereal and all this garbage. So keep in mind that doesn't count as simple solids. Pop-Tarts and, Lucky Charms cereal. So this kinds of like highly processed food, generally you want to stay away from that. Try to eat the simple solids. Okay? When I say solids, that could include soup as well. So eat what the working men eat. So you want to think maybe like, what kind of food was available in 1910? What kind of food would they eat in 1910? What do the farmers eat? It could be bread. It could be pork and beans. It could be steak and potatoes. It could be eggs. It could be vegetables. Don't eat stuff just because you think it's good for you or that you have to eat it. Don't eat stuff because you think in your mind that you need more nutrients from a variety of foods. You don't have to eat a variety of foods. You just have to eat what your body wants to eat, what your body's hungry for. You can survive on a simple diet with the same foods as long as you're following these rules. Like the Eskimos in the Arctic, all they eat is seal blubber. They don't have access to kale and to spirulina powder. All they eat seal blubber and seal meat, and they survive on that, and they live healthy lives. You could say that it's because the seals are actually eating all of the seaweed that's underneath the ocean, and then that nutrients gets into their blubber, and it's very bioavailable. So when they hunt the seals and eat it, all of that nutrients from the seaweed gets into their system. So, yeah, that's why I generally recommend to eat healthy meat. Try not to eat farmed meat. Ideally, wild-caught meat is the best that you can eat. If you can't afford that, stick to rice, eggs, beans, just stuff that's satiating, and just listen to what your body wants. Not what your appetite wants, but what your genuine hunger wants when you're in a genuine hunger state. Again, hunger isn't painful, okay? If you're experiencing pain and you think it's because you're hungry, it's not. Like I said, it's because your body's cleaning itself. I'm going to try not to repeat myself too much. All right, so how to eat. So go for what tastes good first. Take a moderate spoonful. He says to chew thoroughly. Chew fully until the food is liquid. Don't be in a rush to hork it all down. Don't be in a rush. Take your time. Eat slowly. Don't be in a rush to get on to the next thing. Enjoy the food that's in front of you. Enjoy it. Go for what tastes good. Enjoy the taste. Focus on the taste. Chew fully, but enjoy the taste. Try not to socialize too much with other people. All right? And then stop eating when your hunger is gone. When you're done and you're not hungry anymore, stop eating. You'll find you don't need to eat as much as you usually do. I'm the kind of person in the past where I would just like fill myself up till I'm absolutely stuffed, right? Because I had this feeling of like I have to finish my whole plate. You don't need to do that. Just stop eating when your hunger's gone. Okay? You can eat a little bit extra if you want to, but generally stop when your hunger's gone. Okay? Focus on the taste, enjoy, and think thoughts of perfect digestion. When you're eating, let's say you're eating some food that's really tasty and it's like exactly what your body wants, but in your mind, you've read some article somewhere that you know that this food has this ingredient in it that isn't good for you. Don't think about that while you're eating. Don't think about how the food you're eating is not good for you while you're eating, because that's going to create disease in your body. When you're eating food and you're following all the previous rules, then just know that if your body genuinely wants it, it's going to digest perfectly. You can't have indigestion when you follow these rules. It's impossible because we're using the body as nature designed it to be used. All right. How to breathe. So we talked about eating a lot. Breathing's a lot simpler. You want to breathe fresh, clean air. So if you live in like a dense city where it's very polluted, consider moving. If you don't have money to move, then read The Science of Getting Rich, where he tells you how to get more money so that you can put yourself in a healthy situation in your life. Don't live in toxic pollution or smog. You want to be breathing fresh, clean air. Stand up straight, shoulders back, take a deep breath. You want to fill up your diaphragm. I have a whole video called How to Breathe Properly. It's an older video. You can check that out. Air is a food. So there's tiny little microparticles in the air. Even like when food is being cooked, that smell of like cooked food, there's tiny little microparticles that actually get absorbed directly into your bloodstream. They don't need to be digested. So the smell of nature, the smell of trees, the smell of flowers, all of this actually has these little microparticles that gets absorbed directly in your bloodstream and is extremely healthy for you. So that's why going out in nature, breathing fresh air, standing up straight, filling up your diaphragm, that is the best way to breathe in the perfectly healthy way. How to sleep. I just made a whole video about how to sleep. Wallace Wattles in the book says you need lots of fresh air when you sleep. Your window needs to be wide open. Ideally, if you have two windows, get both of them wide open, as much air as possible. So you want it to be like you're sleeping outside. Because when you sleep, your body uses 3 times the amount of oxygen as it does when you're awake. Your brain is repairing its cells. Your body and muscles are repairing their cells. They need more oxygen. So if you sleep with the door closed and the window closed, and there's no fresh air coming into your room, you are not sleeping in a healthy way, and it will cause issues for you. So I don't care if it's winter. It doesn't matter if it's winter. I was sleeping in the freezing cold Canadian winter for years now with the window wide open. I just put more blankets on yourself. Go to wear a sweater into your bed. Doesn't matter. You need the air. Do not compromise on this. You need lots and lots of fresh air in your room. And as you're falling asleep, think grateful thoughts as well. Think about how you love your life and how you're so thankful that you're a healthy person and that life is amazing. Your house is amazing and everything's amazing, and go to sleep in that state. All right. Exercise. He says, don't exercise for your health. Exercise for fun. So the best way to exercise is to play sports. Play. Go for a walk. Go for a bike ride. Go for a skateboard. Go skating. Go skiing. I know I'm Canadian, so you go curling, play hockey, make maple syrup, ride a moose, do fun things. You can go swimming, and do natural things to exercise. Don't think you need to exercise, or don't do like particular stunts because you feel like you need to exercise in order to be healthy. Make your exercise fun. Make it a natural part of your life. Exercise because you're healthy, not to get healthy. Exercise because you're healthy. Now, many people will say, Adam, but what if I want to put on muscle? What if I want to have an aesthetic body? Okay, I guess if that's fun for you, sure, go ahead. But if you're at the gym and you realize that you actually don't want to go to the gym 5 days a week, if you're being honest with yourself, the motion of the gym is repetitive, it's stagnant, it gets stale, the motions are the same over and over again. You get bored of it. Why do you think it's so hard to stay consistent with going to the gym 6 days a week for months and months and months and months? It's because you don't want to do that. Your body you don't enjoy that. You need to take breaks. You need to go do natural organic movements and exercises. Many people say, well, Adam, you're a weakling. I don't want to be like you. Well, actually, I'm not really a weakling. I have some good muscle mass. I do pull-ups at the park sometimes for fun. I do lots of push-ups. I exercise. I'm actually in very good physical shape. I have good muscle mass. So it's not that, like, don't worry about your muscles. Like, sure, you can have some muscles if you want. Sure, go ahead. Nothing wrong with that. But if you're, worried about like attracting women, women will only love me if I have muscles, or, I'll only love myself if I have muscles. I can't be confident without muscles. Okay, well, in that case, sure, work out a bit. Yeah, nothing wrong with that. And don't base your self-worth on your muscles. You can be extremely attractive to women. If you're someone who's an ectomorph and you're just naturally very skinny and you have trouble gaining weight, try owning it. If it's impossible for you to gain weight and you need to do all these like difficult stunts to gain weight, you need to, hork down 6,000 calories a day and eat meal replacements and all this stuff, that's not healthy. That goes against all the other principles that we just talked about. So think about your values. I actually recommend thinking about your values. Like, is your value really to be like, some like jacked bodybuilder kind of guy? Like, is that what your soul wants? Maybe. Okay, sure. If that's your passion, go ahead. It's your genuine passion. Knock yourself out. But you have to really be honest with yourself. Is that your genuine passion? Or do you just want happiness in your life and health? So don't think about it so much. Don't worry about like, oh, I missed the gym today. Who fucking cares? Doesn't matter. Focus on your life purpose instead. Okay? And the last point is dealing with pain. Well, not the last point, but another thing we're going to talk about here is dealing with pain. So one of the points he makes in this book is that pain is not bad. So if I'm not someone who struggles with chronic pain, so it's difficult for me to sympathize or to empathize with you if you're someone who struggles with chronic pain. But it is true that pain is a good thing. It's actually the body healing itself. Pain is actually a sign that your body is healing itself or wants to be healed. So he says don't resist pain, but actually feel into it fully. Let it be there, and actually remember that when you feel pain, that's a good thing, and you be grateful for it, that your body's healing with it's healing itself, and pay attention with it. Be with the pain and help it along, which means, cheer it along. Good job. You're healing my body. Thank you. Good. Now, obviously, if you feel like some intense chronic pain for a long time, maybe you may want to see a doctor. If you have some rash that's not going away, maybe you want to see a doctor. But obviously I'm not a doctor, but in general, if you're feeling pain in your body, like I mentioned with those hunger pangs or stuff like that, that's actually a good thing. That usually means your body is healing itself. So this is something that resonates with me. I don't really know how to prove this to you logically. You just got to feel into it with your heart a little bit, like feel it. Like, yeah, my body feels pain, not to hurt me, but because it wants to help me. It wants to be healthy. My body's making itself healthier. And that's really the whole point of this book, is that you are health. In its most natural state, your body is perfectly healthy. Your body's not going to be diseased for no reason. There may be subconscious thoughts or beliefs or habits, ways of thinking that have created dis-ease in your body. And again, I know this sounds, I want to be compassionate here because I know there's a lot of people who've just been dealt a bad hand and they just have like chronic health issues. I've struggled with eczema for my entire life, but I've noticed actually that my eczema starts to go away when I start to do this kind of internal healing work. So all of reality is one thing. Physical reality is a reflection of your internal state, and there's no exceptions to this rule. Because reality is all one, what you experience physically is always a reflection of what you are thinking and feeling internally, mentally. This is true for your money situation. This is true with your health. This is true with your relationship as well. This is true with other people, your career, all this stuff. So this isn't wishful thinking. I want you to understand deeply that this is the nature of reality. It's all one thing. It's not like your mind is over here in its own little vat. You're not a brain in a vat, and then physical reality is out there, and you have to actually work with physical reality with your hands in order to get it to change. Yeah, sure, you do need to take action in order to get reality to change, but the most high leverage action that you can do isn't actually a physical action, but it's more so aligning your energy with being your best self. Be the rich version of yourself, or the healthy version of yourself, or the great version of yourself, or the attractive version of yourself. Visualize it and be it. Embody the energetic frequency. Reality is made of vibration. It's made of being. It's made of consciousness. So when you align your consciousness and your being and your vibration with the ideal version of who you want to be, by conceiving it first in your mind and then making it a part of your body, and then acting from that place on a moment-to-moment basis, not just for 20 minutes a day, but for the entire day. Brushing your teeth as the ideal version of yourself, meditating as the ideal version of yourself, talking to other people, etc. When you be the ideal version of yourself, that is what causes your reality to change. Be the change you want to see in the world. And with that, I will leave you with that. So this was a summary of The Science of Being Well by Wallace Wattles. Don't take my word on faith. Don't take his word on faith. Read the book yourself. Listen to the words. Listen to his actual words. Feel it resonate in your being. Your being is able to recognize truth. If you're not clinging to old thoughts, if you're open-minded and you're willing to learn new things about life, if you're intellectually humble, if you realize that if you stay in a state of openness, not knowing, intellectual humility, and you're willing to take on new perspectives and just to test them out, not to believe them blindly like an ideologue, just to test it, just to see if it works, just to learn, right? You be a scientist, take on the hypothesis temporarily, believe it for a bit, try this out, actually believe this stuff for 21 days and see how that works. You might find it's awesome. If you fully put your heart and soul into it, it'll work. It's actually guaranteed to work because this is the science of being well. Check and see for yourself, though. Don't take my word for it. And that's a big thing we talk about here on this channel is epistemology, developing your own view of the world, not just trusting other people to tell you how to think. You need to read hundreds of books and listen to hundreds of different teachers and different perspectives, because only that way are you able to kind of build this big picture understanding by gaining this variety of experiences. When you listen to 100 different teachers talk about different topics and they're sages, then you start to see the common patterns and you start to put that together. And that's what I want to help you to do on this channel. This is what I've been doing for myself for the last 7 or 8 years. And yeah, I'm super excited about all the awesome content that's coming next. Check out my website. It's called adammiceli.co. On there, I have a free meditation guide. I also have, coming soon, a book list as well with all my favorite books. Also, I have a free community as well called the Conscious Creator Community, which is about consciously creating the life that you want to live. And come join that community. Come hang out and chat with us. I've been putting a lot of energy into there. I've even been giving people in their free coaching calls. I have a course in there about discovering your life purpose. So the link is in the description. Come join the community for free. Subscribe to the channel. New videos on the way, and I'll see you in the next one.